good day here, PFL, Central London. Talk to us about Emma's involvement in PFL, first of all.
Well, I was put in touch with James from PFL a little while ago, and we struck up the conversation. Obviously, we spoke about PFL's potential move over to Europe initially, and we got put together because it's in my vested interest to introduce them and let them know what the English MMA Association are trying to do in terms of, legitimising the sport, getting it recognised by Sport England, etc. So just put James and the PFL in the picture, and potentially, again, we're going to have a cooperation and a partnership in working in conjunction and association with us. So it's obviously a good leg up and platform for the association, but it's also, my thanks and a lot of credence to PFL and in opening those lines of communication as well.
PFL obviously just did the press conference, and part of that, Kayla Harrison, there was a question asked about the Olympics, MMA in the Olympics, the Commonwealth Games, etc. How important is that still? And obviously hearing her say that, that's still a massive goal of Emma's to make that a sport in the Olympics.
Look, I was talking about it earlier, the fact that the International Federation, IMMAF, the mission, if you like, is to get MMA as a recognised Olympic discipline. Years and years ago, even I thought that was something that wasn't attainable. But if you look at the work that the IMMAF have done internationally at the amateur side of the sport, over 130 member countries now, probably a bit more. All the World Championships and European Championships and various regional opens were put on. And then if you look at the tying, when you listen to Clarissa and you listen to Kayla, these are two of the highest ranking achievable Olympic discipline amateur athletes. When I say amateur, I mean in terms of recognition from Olympic level, boxing and judo, both double Olympians, gold medal Olympians, world champions, etc., etc. Having that association with amateur athletes at the highest possible level, world championship and Olympic level, it's phenomenal. Obviously, Clarissa went on to turn into professional boxing and has cemented herself as the GOAT, as everybody calls, the greatest woman of all time. And look at Kayla's standing and achievements in judo. Say no more. Her crossover into MMA has also been more than successful. Twice PFL champion. So yeah, having that. And something else, really important, was the PFL's late last year, signed two IMMAF gold medalists, two champions, Julia Dorney and Michelle Montague. So that association and that bedrock of amateur athletes, even at the highest level, from Clarissa and Kayla, right down to gold medal amateur athletes from IMMAF, PFL have cemented it, especially when it's 4 females. It's phenomenal what they've done.
Last time we spoke was before your meeting with Sport England, obviously trying to make that a recognised sport in England. How did that go? What's the latest on that, and comparing that to it obviously eventually becoming an Olympic sport, etc., etc.?
Great meeting. Obviously the fact that they opened their doors to us to sit down face to face. We had the first round of meetings were online during the lockdown, so I chased up on them, and the fact that they're inclusive to us. They know who we are, they know what we're trying to do. I think they want to see us do it as well, but there's obviously it's not an overnight thing. There's a huge process to go through in terms of proving our validity, proving who we are, what we do for the sport, clubs, memberships, safeguarding, officials training, championships, etc., etc. There's a whole raft of things, like a workbook, that we're actually getting through. But I can't thank Richard and Kathy enough at Sport England to actually sit down, meet with us, talk to us, and give us the blueprint. And they're there, they've been very open in terms of going back to them, saying, look, this is where we've got to, could you come in and have a look for us? So it's a very positive step. lot of work to do, a lot of hard work to do, but everything's moving in the right direction. So, like I said, it's not going to be overnight, but fingers crossed. It's, for me, it's a legacy thing. I want to see the sport that I've loved for so long. I want to see that be recognised in this country for the future of the sport and beyond.
One of our main steps in doing this is the Four Nations, which is starting in a couple of months, 3rd of July, 1st to the 3rd of July. That's a big thing for us this year. Why is that so important?
Because it's one of the fundamentals, one of the building blocks of attaining any form of recognition is what do we do for the sport in our home country. Obviously, national competition is a huge thing. Obviously, whilst we're still waiting for IMMAF to get some, to solidify the dates for the Europeans and the Junior World Championships too, it's even more important for us to put on competition for our athletes, and none more so than the Four Nations taking part of the Fit Expo in July. We've actually opened it up. I think that's something we've got to give a lot of credit to for the association, and the work that Paul Reed's been doing as well behind the scenes has been magic. Having it inclusive, not just having it as an English Championships, that's something you're probably going to find. We're going to replicate that at the next Arnold's in September at the NEC in Birmingham. We're going to have a national qualifier for the youth side of it, the 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. But the Four Nations is massive for us as an association. It's inclusive to the home countries, and it shows the forward progressive steps that we're taking to get top-level amateur competition in place.
And to round it off, soon as we're here at PFL Day in central London, what's their potential involvement in that tournament going to be?
For PFL? Yeah, that's another avenue we were talking to with PFL. Look, I've gone on to say about, even inadvertently, PFL's commitment to amateur level athletes has already been, nailed, set in stone. Clarissa, professional boxing there, but Kayla, you heard her say she came straight from an amateur discipline at the highest possible level. She came straight from an Olympic discipline. Her whole career, her whole professional MMA career has been with one promotion. They've also, like I said, signed 2 IMMAF gold medalists in Julia and Michelle. So James Fruin, who I've had a good relationship with and speaking to, having any form of association, they know the value and they know the pathway and the progression, the importance thereof, of young amateurs coming through and then giving them something to aim for at the end. Life after an amateur discipline. You heard it from Kayla at the end of the highest possible level. She was double Olympian, a world champion in judo, and then was kind of given a check from USA Judo, and then kind of like, well, thanks for your services. Now they can see life after judo, life after boxing, and life after becoming a youth mixed martial artist. So looking at PFL's involvement, the fact that they already give, they've got one eye on the fact that they know that tomorrow's, without sounding cliche, tomorrow's stars come from a good, solid, developed amateur program, and that's what we're there to do.
Fantastic, Marc. Cheers.